What is going on? Welcome back to Catch All Media. My name is Andrew, and today we're talking about French New Wave as we take a look at Francois Truffaut's masterpiece, The 400 Blows. The 400 Blows is not your archetypical coming of age story, but it is a coming of age story nonetheless. It is set in Paris in what seems to be a very bleak environment. There's not a whole lot of flash and pomp and circumstances as we see in this movie. It is very naturalistic, very real, and almost to a point that drives the movie in a certain direction as far as how we feel as an audience about it and how we interact with the movie and the feeling that we get from the way this movie is presented as far as the setting and the characters and how they interact with that setting. In this story, we follow the lead, Antoine Daniel, as he is portrayed by Jean-Pierre Léaud, and we see his troubled upbringing and some of his trials and tribulations living in what appears to be a post-war Paris, in what is a very bleak environment that seems to be in flux. When we see interactions from the cops, they seem apathetic. When we see the parents of this child, which are the only parents who really get an interaction with, they are very apathetic to him. They're very caught up in the world that they are in and the feeling that they are in. It feels very much like this is a society that is still trying to put the pieces back together and move on with their lives. First thing is first, let's talk about the characters. The lead, played by Jean-Pierre Léaud, is played fantastically. Most of the emotions that we see and that we get from the screen are all from his face. He is very expressive in his face, even when he is not expressing, if that makes sense. But we follow him, and he is great in this character that is drawn in so many different directions, but none of them are really in positive directions, unfortunately for him. But he's very much a product of his environment. Like I said, this is a city in flux. He feels like he's part of the city. The city feels like it's almost its own character because the setting is so masterfully displayed. Jump cut. This being Francois Truffaut's first feature really blows me away just because of some of the way the shots are composed and some of the tracking shots that we see with our lead Jean-Pierre Léaud, especially at the end and some in between when he's running around the city with Renee. And as he's running, I don't want to say much more actually. But anyway, with the cinematography, the way that the tracking shots are composed, and a lot of these close-up shots that we get with our lead is a great way to ingratiate us into his world and into his life. Now, the second character I want to talk about is his mother, portrayed by Claire Morier. She does a fantastic job at being a despicable character. Who has very little, actually no redeeming qualities whatsoever throughout this movie. There is a point in the movie where we feel like maybe she's starting to show some good characteristics, but that is quickly stamped out, unfortunately. But her role in this movie is pivotal to the main driving force against Antoine and the main driving force of why he is going down this path. Because we see that from his stepfather, we don't get a whole lot of interaction. We do get some interaction. Some of them are positive, some of them are not. But he's not the focus of these relationships in this picture. This picture, nice. So he is not the focus of the relationships, but the mother is, and we see that the mother is a huge part of why Antoine is the way that he is, and that actress just did a great job in solidifying that role and not playing it any way likable. So moving on from the characters, the next thing I want to talk about is the pacing in the movie. The pacing in the movie is pretty solid. It kept me very interested all the way through. Even though the subject matter and some of the scenes throughout the movie are not the most thrilling, you are still drawn in. Based on the way that it's composed, we see a lot of interaction in very tight spaces in Paris, kind of adding to that feeling that Antoine is very much, tight, very constricted in his world, in his life, and shooting those shots in such close quarters and some of the close-ups we get and some of the wide-angle shots that really let us see how close everything is in their apartment and how close some of these streets are and things like that. It really makes us feel constricted just as Antoine feels internally. So the character work and the cinematography were my two favorite things about this movie. I thought that they were both done masterfully. The movie itself overall is a classic in my mind. I mean, I'd never seen it before. This is my first Francois Truffaut picture that I've seen. There's that word picture again. I don't know where it's coming from. I guess it's because I feel very artsy with the French New Wave coming in. But this is the first Francois Truffaut picture that I have seen, and I was very very pleased. This is the second French New Wave film that I've watched. I've seen Breathless by Jean-Luc Godard, and 400 Blows will be number 2 on my list. I'm not sure where I'll go from here. You guys, please down below let me know where I should go next because I'm very much enjoying the French New Wave. So I'd love to come back with another one detailing another movie. But guys, that is the 400 Blows. I did not want to get too crazy with this because I don't want to really give away a whole lot of the story. It's not like I'm going to spoil anything, but I think that the less that's said about this, the better, because I want people to go in and experience it exactly for themselves, no preconceived notions, and figure out what they get from the film. So if you do go and do that and you have not seen the 400 Blows before, and you give it a watch, please let me know what you think. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you again as we talk about Fritz Lang's M in the next video.